Hello and welcome again to the Writer Review. This is Eric Carrot Writer, and this week we're going to be taking a look back at the 2004 action thriller spy movie titled The Bourne Supremacy. Now, The Bourne Supremacy runs for 1 hour and 48 minutes long. It is directed by Paul Greengrass, who took over from Doug Liman's position. Doug Liman, of course, directed The Bourne Identity. But now we got Paul Greengrass taking over the helm as the director. The script was written by Tony Gilroy, who had written the script for the other Bourne movies. I know he did Identity, he did Supremacy, he did Ultimatum. He also did he did double duty for The Bourne Legacy, which I will be reviewing next week. And I'm not sure if he did Jason Bourne. I don't remember. Of course, it is based off of the novel by Robert Ludlum, who wrote a whole series of Jason Bourne movies. It is produced by Frank Marshall, Patrick Crowley, and Paul J. Sandberg. It is composed by John Powell, the cinematography by Oliver Wood, and it was edited by Christopher Rouse and Richard Pearson. And the stars of the movie are Matt Damon, Joan Allen, Brian Cox, Karl Urban, Franka Potente, Julia Stiles, Karel Roden, Gabriel Mann, Marton Csokas, Tomas Arana, Tom Gallop, Michelle Monaghan, and Oksana Akinshina. So in The Bourne Identity, which was released back in 2002, nobody knew what to expect from it at the time. Did you even know that The Bourne Identity that came out in 2002 was actually a reboot from 1988? Yes, it had Richard Chamberlain in that one. Who knew? And some people say that it's actually more true to the Robert Ludlum novel than the 2002 Matt Damon Bourne Identity. I didn't know that. You learn something new every day. But nobody knew what to expect from it at the time. But being that it was so good, it succeeded well in the box office. It drew a lot of attention. A lot of people thought that, Jason Bourne is almost like a polar opposite to James Bond, being the fact that, James Bond is kind of more suave in his spy things, and that he depends on gadgets and escape ways to overcome his adversaries. Whereas, Jason Bourne, most of his ways is through, most of the time, fight scenes, but a lot of times is basically just to escape from danger and using clever and intelligent tactics to overcome his adversaries. So we see a complete contrast. And while James Bond is known for flashy one-liners and pickup lines, and can sometimes seem to somewhat laugh in the face of danger, there is no laughs in the Bourne franchise. Bourne is a very stoic individual who doesn't really speak very much, but definitely lets his actions speak louder than words. He's not here to have a good time. He is practically running for dear life. Fear seems to be more of his trajectory, but he tries to overcome the fear by just, outsmarting his adversaries without all the shenanigans that Bond does. I mean, this movie could have potentially passed off as a standalone movie. However, due to its popularity among critics, it actually did quite well at the box office. It came as no surprise that it would launch a sequel and would later be made into a franchise. So in 2004, we saw The Bourne Supremacy. and it was released. And where it stands out from the Bourne Identity is that the film was given a lot more of a darker, edgier vibe filled with action, espionage, and pure excitement to satisfy all action junkies. And it also had the potential to be a near perfect film. And why is it not a near perfect film? Well, under the direction of Paul Greengrass, he decided to drain out the exciting action film and made it almost close to a documentary style by constantly switching from one scene to the next, causing confusion, which at times can feel overwhelming to my head and to my eyes. The constant in and outs of each scenes is a bit overwhelming. And it could also just more or less cause you to be tired. And not tired out of boredom, but more or less tired because it constantly changes from scene to scene at a rapid speed. And also, it doesn't kind of help that the whole shaky camera thing was quite prevalent. I mean, you could probably expect that in a lot of action flicks, the whole shaky cam thing, but at times it goes on too much, it starts to become overkill. So 2 years after the events from the Bourne Identity, Jason Bourne, played by Matt Damon, who's still suffering from amnesia, still doesn't know completely who he is or what his real name is. But now, he just doesn't seem to really care. He's taken on the identity of Jason Bourne, not caring about his amnesia or not. He's now pretty much being left alone. And I think that if they would have left him alone, well, I guess there wouldn't be no Bourne Supremacy. Thank you all for coming. Drive home safely. No. In other words, there wouldn't be no story, would there? And you'd be probably wasting $10, $15 of your fucking money just to be told there is no story. Go home, drive safely. Yeah, right. Fuck you. I came here to see a movie. I came here to consume popcorn and soda. Now show me the money. Show me the movie. No, don't worry, there is a movie. Relax, guys. But now Jason Bourne, right now in the opening scenes, he is living in the life of serenity and tranquility in the beautiful city of Goa in India, along with his lover from the Bourne Identity. I'm talking about Marie, played by Franka Potente. Yes, she returns. And why not? I mean, she was like a very prominent, important character in the Bourne Identity. They go through a lot. And in the end, he may have not been able to win back his identity, but he did win a girlfriend. And he overcame a lot of deep adversary, whether it be with spies or whether it be with the CIA. We're just a bunch of suit and tie hacks. So here he is, living the quiet life in India with his girlfriend Marie, enjoying the life without a care in the world. Except for he still doesn't know who he is. But still, his past continues to haunt him, as every now and then. But hey, everyone left him alone, right? Well, that was until the CIA were once again poking their ugly heads out. And once again, he's on the hunt. Or they're on the hunt for him after he's been accused for the deaths of 2 CIA representatives. One of them, I believe his name was Vladimir Niski. And of course, they want his head. Well, maybe the rest of the body too, but they want him dead or alive. Preferably dead, since they're on the mission to hunt him down. So then we got this Russian assassin named Karel, played by Karl Urban, as he attempts to shoot Jason Bourne, which leads them on a bit of a chase throughout the Indian landscape. India, that is. So then Jason Bourne, who decides to switch positions, who was driving the truck or the Jeep or whatever it was, switch spots. So Marie starts driving. Karel thought that he got Jason Bourne, but then he accidentally kills Marie, which leads to her death, which actually seems to be pretty heartbreaking when you think about it, since she was such a prominent, important character in the first movie, and she's already dead after 15 minutes of this movie. In Bourne Identity, she was like a very important character, but then we come to the sequel, and she gets killed in the first 15 minutes. Due to Karel accidentally killing the wrong person. So eventually, Jason Bourne decides that, well, we're going to get to the bottom of this. You took my girlfriend. Now it's going to be me who's going to be doing some taking down of my own. So it leads to our hero back on the run again, with not only just his mind set on his own identity, but now he also has revenge on his mind. And he's determined to clear his name and to take down the people who killed his girlfriend. And here we don't see a smiling, happy-go Jason Bourne. Even though we don't see him really smiling that much in the Bourne Identity, but in the Bourne Supremacy, his level of anger has gone at a fever pitch. And he wants revenge. And whenever he wants something, he gets it. So he wants not only just revenge, he also wants answers. Why are they after him? What is their connection between he and the Russians? What did he do? Why are they still after him? Why did they bother him again? And he's not just gonna sit on his ass doing shit all. He's gonna take these people down, even if it's the last fucking thing he does. I took my girlfriend, you bastards! Come on, let's see you now. You're gonna pay with your life. and your blood. So combining action with dark vengeance is always something that will make me very happy. I know I'm not no fucking sadist, but I just love action movies. But if you add in wonderful performances, the chances are I will likely be on cloud nine. And I will have to say there are some great performances here, especially from Matt Damon, who carried the film as he nailed his role as Jason Bourne brilliantly. He did well in The Bourne Identity, but I think he solidified his position even more as I guess he became more adjusted to the Jason Bourne character, but also at the same time, we take umbrage for him, we take pity, we feel bad for him, but I think we actually also feel more bad for him in the Bourne Supremacy than we did in the Bourne Identity. Because now we see Bourne feeling scarred after his lover's death while hunting down the people behind it. It's great in terms of both action and drama. Hey, it's also good to see some returning characters back. We'll get to that in a bit. But it's just great that we actually see an action film where Bourne is not just out for revenge, he's out for answers. The movie had the potential of being one of the greatest spy movies ever made, exceeding everything that James Bond or Ethan Hunt had ever done. But the main problem that anchors this movie down is the direction. The quick camera scenes are fucking migraine inducing. It almost made me have to go to the medicine cabinet to get a Tylenol because the whole shaky cam thing was just mesmerizing and not in a good way. It made my eyes sore and it made my head spin. I just almost wanted to get off my chair and tell Mr. Greengrass to please stop the constant shaky camera angles. It's making me sick. And it just takes away all the magic that makes this film stand out. I mean, the way you're directing the movie, you may as well just give it to someone who has Parkinson's disease to direct the movie. Because the way how the camera kept shaking, it looked like somebody who had this illness could be directing this movie. Because the shaky camera stuff was so fucking overwhelming. I would have liked, oh, you like to shake? Oh, I like to grab you by the neck and shake you a few times. Just so you could stop the shaky camera angles. But I kept my cool. Alright. To give the guy a break, the concept of the shaky camera tactic is really actually nothing new. Hell, even the Bourne Identity had its moments. But here, it's virtually non-stop. Okay, I'm sure Greengrass's intentions were good. And he was hired to film the scenes in that particular fashion. But it just goes on constantly and never stops. And there were even tender moments in this movie where they could have just put the brakes on the shaky cam bullshit. Come on now. The tender moments didn't need it. I mean, scenes that didn't need the shaky camera work was when Bourne was looking through his journal. Why did we need shaky cam syndrome for that? Or when he was grieving over his dead lover and burning her photos and passports. There was no need for him to do that. Or when he went to come over at the end of the scenes to come over to the daughter of the Russian spy he allegedly killed and to apologize to her for what he did in hopes that she can move on. All right, fine. Yes, it's a spy movie, top priority. But even spy films have moments where we can feel for the characters. But how can we when the cameras are always jittering? And one of the more emotional scenes when Bourne enters the home of the young Russian teenage girl and confesses his wrongdoings, the camera can't stop vibrating. I mean, this is powerful emotional stuff, but it's ruined because of that. It's unjustified because Damon is showing Goodwill Hunting caliber acting in this scene. It's that good and powerful. And this movie is not going to notice Matt Damon as a dialogue actor because there's really hardly any dialogue in this movie. It's basically Jason Bourne on the run from CIAs and also groups like Treadstone or Blackbriar or whatever. They're all like, conspirators behind Jason Bourne. And, I'll get to a little bit more to that in a bit. I mean, other than the shaky cam stuff, this is some pretty good material. There are the fight scenes, which were easily some of the best, being that unlike Bond movies, especially the Roger Moore era Bond, it wasn't cartoonish or superficial. You actually feel the fear that he's going through, and it comes across as being organically authentic. But once again, back to the camera shakes. I never fully got invested into these scenes because I couldn't tell what was going on. And if that's not enough, Greengrass provides way too many close-ups. I couldn't tell who at times. Action films are supposed to excite us. Yes. And this one did succeed. But they shouldn't confuse anyone. Action films are supposed to be one of the more easier to follow genres. More so than a comedy or a drama or a horror. I understand he wanted to be part of the action, and I praise him for that effort. The knife fight was still badly projected because of shaky cam. I couldn't see anything that was happening. There was even a heart pulsating car chase, but I lost focus because of the jittery camera, and by then I needed a Tylenol after that. But like I said about the acting, there was a lot of great acting in this movie. Not just Matt Damon, but also, many of the CIA representatives who are behind the operatives and who are always on the track and looking out for Jason Bourne. Um, and also trying to do their best to save their hides is to not reveal too much, because if they reveal too much, there could be some serious repercussions. And you kind of feel bad for some of them, especially, like Ward Abbott, even though the guy is kind of playing off as kind of like a darkened antagonist, but still you kind of take some umbrage to him because he's obviously not inclined to leak too much information. It's good to see him returned with a lot more material given to him. Um, it's kind of a bit of a shame that I don't know if this movie was 100% true to the Robert Ludlum novel, because according to the novel of the Bourne Supremacy, Marie spends most of the time being kidnapped by the CIA or the KGB, and it's up to Bourne to rescue her. But I guess instead of having some cheesy, cliched damsel in distress story, they decided to make it more into a revenge story. Let's see, who else returns into this? Aside from Franka, Potente, uh, I don't remember. I know. I think Danny Zorn also returns, but then becomes a cohort with Ward Abbott, played by Brian Cox. Um, but I think the best newcomer to the Bourne Supremacy franchise, well, I can't say newcomer, because this movie is almost practically nearly 20 years old. But Joan Allen, who played Pamela Landy, was definitely a great foil in this, and she becomes quite the prominent character in not only just the Bourne Supremacy, but also the Bourne Ultimatum. And she also has a nice little cameo in the end in the Bourne Legacy, which I will be reviewing next week. She, of course, tries to sort of break away, to sort of leak out all of the stuff that's happening, with Treadstone and Blackbriar and all that. And I think she's just a foil to both the CIA and to Jason Bourne, because she's really trying to like get into Bourne, to reveal his identity and things like that. Eventually, in the revelation that comes up, of course, I don't know if I want to pass her off as an anti-hero, because I don't think she's really that heroic of a character. She's not like a clear-cut villain. In some ways, if the Bourne franchise was like Batman, she would be like the Catwoman. That's how I kind of describe her. She's not a full-blown villain. She's not a full-blown protagonist. She kind of like is a stand of her own type of character. And yeah, Julia Stiles also returns as Nikki Parsons. She still doesn't get really that much screen time, except that she can actually clue in on the more subtle stuff behind Jason Bourne and all the stuff that has transpired. Yeah. At least I'll say one thing. At least none of the character performances, especially the main ones, are wasted in any way, shape, or form. So, in spite of all the negative things I said about the movie, it's really actually not that bad. I enjoyed the movie. It's still a welcoming addition to the Bourne franchise. Pretty much, I was just frustrated that a lot was ruined because of the constant shaky cam. And I guess it's because Paul Greengrass, well, he was a photojournalist, and I think he also did documentaries. And sometimes when you do these kind of things, you carry the handheld camera and you pretty much just run with the seams, that type of thing. And I think that's what his method and his strategy is. But I just don't like it. That's me, that is. But that's just me. If you appreciate this kind of stuff, the more power to you. To each their own. Fine. We're still friends. I still like you. I appreciate the effort of Paul Greengrass to make this movie feel special. I'm not condemning him. But I just couldn't get invested in the incredible action and the emotional human drama that came with it because of the shaky cam. And yeah, okay, I was a little bit rough on Paul Greengrass, but I respect him as a director. And, like I said, I recommend this movie. I was just overwhelmed by the whole shaky cam stuff. So, when all is said and done, if I was to give this movie a scale out of 10, I would give the Bourne Supremacy from 2004 a 7.5 out of 10. So I guess this ends my rate review. Thank you all for listening in. If you wish to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please feel free to do so. If you wish to leave a comment, go right ahead. But just remember the 3 simple rules: be kind, be courteous, and please refrain from any rude comments. And then we'll be back again with another movie review. So until next time, this is Eric Correct Writer saying keep watching those movies, and I'll see you around. Goodbye.